Wednesday, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. And Leah here with Craig. We let PD take today off because he's dealing with his disaster at home.
Yeah, we upgraded. I'm just going to say it.
We got Jacob behind the Mac, and you can argue that we upgraded with Greg Powers, head coach of Sun Devil Hockey. Greg, welcome to the studio. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me back. I guess college hockey's too beneath PD. Huh?
Apparently.
The irony is that he loves college hockey.
Unless we're talking Bemidji.
Yeah, unless it's Bemidji, then...
Bemidji or North Dakota.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, what a season so far for the Sun Devils. Big matchup this weekend. There's a lot to talk about. But I guess just off the top, we want to hear from you. What's your early impressions of your team?
So far, so good. I think what we like about our team is that we're winning, right? And that's the end of the day. That's what you want as a coach. We're finding ways to win. We don't feel like we've even come close to playing our best hockey, which is good. So still a lot of room for growth, but we have an incredibly resilient group of kids that have found a multitude of different ways to win hockey games. And early, that's what you want. You want to see that resiliency.
You talked this offseason about trying to return to that old identity of being hard to play against, and you obviously brought in a couple new assistants as well. So let's knock those off one by one. First of all, how have the new players adapted to the team? What have they meant to that sort of identity that you've talked about?
The ones we brought in specifically out of the portal and obviously the freshmen too, all fit that mold of fast, hard, heavy players. Off the top, Tyler Gratton and Brian Chambers up front have really helped us reestablish that identity. They're both big. They're both strong. They both drive the pace of play. And they show up every night as fifth-year guys that have played a lot of college hockey. They've done really, really well for us. Brandon Tabakin on the back, a fifth year from Yale, same thing. And then a lot of the freshmen have really bought into that hard to play against mentality. Kyle Smolin, Cole Gordon. So really off to a good start in many ways that from that standpoint.
And what about the assistants? I know you've maybe taken a backseat a little bit. It's allowed you to get back and maybe observe a little bit and let other guys run practice, implement their ideas. How's that all worked out?
It's been good. I mean, I would say once every 7 to 10 days, I sit up top and I watch. We did an inter-squad scrimmage today, so 5 or 6 drills before that. But it's nice to be able to sit up top and watch what the emphasis of practice is and look at some important decisions as far as maybe we're struggling with a lineup decision and being able to sit up top and watch effort and details and habits in practice to make that final decision from my chair has been huge. So 3 great coaches that I know I can trust and that all do a great job.
The recruiting trail was a big piece of that as well. I don't. It's very early, obviously, but do you have any sense of the impact that they're making?
It can't be overstated how much our recruiting has picked up in the last 6 months, and NLI Day is today. So we have a lot of kids that are signing. We're really excited about, and then the kids that are verbally committed that this staff has gone out and identified and got committed are the level of player that we just have not had access to in the past. So Albie and Dana have brought a new element to our staff and to our program from a level of player standpoint, and a lot of that has to do with where we are as a program with Mullett going into the NCHC next year. So we have all the boxes checked to really take this thing to a new level.
I really missed the Boston accent when Scotty Allen left the Coyote staff, so it's nice to have it back with Albie O'Connell.
Oh, he has one. That's for sure.
Yeah, he does. Speaking of Albie, has he adjusted to the desert wildlife yet? Because I know he literally moved houses because he couldn't handle it.
He did. That might have been partially my doing.
He did say you were an instigator.
Yeah. I would send him, texts of bobcats and scorpions and snakes and on all kinds of things. But so he moved to Tempe on Tempe Town Lake, and unfortunately, he calls that the city. He's safe in the city, away from all the wildlife. So we'll have to figure something out to scare him again.
Tempe Town Lake, huh? So he's really close. Like,
yeah, he walks. Him and Hixie walk to practice every day.
That's the life too, especially this weather, this time of year. It's not. It's
he
not
can
Boston.
He can walk to Lauren Kuby Park. If he wants to.
Yeah.
We don't want to go there.
Too soon. All right. Well, you mentioned the team's winning, so that's great. What are some other highs that you guys have had this season, either on an individual level or team level? And then on the flip side, what are some of the lows that you've gone through?
Well, I think the highs are just that again, we're finding ways to win. And the resiliency is there. And that's what you want as a coach is a group of guys that no matter what the situation is, they know they can pull it out. And we've done that so far. I think the other high is our scoring is very balanced. So we're getting scoring from a lot of different areas and a lot of different places, and that's tough to prepare for as an opponent. So I think that's a good thing. We can be better 5-on-5. I think that has been one of our biggest areas of focus is how do we generate more 5-on-5, and it's just simple stuff, more of an up-front presence and just some better spacing in the offensive zone and D getting shots through. Simple stuff that I think will really help us. So 5-on-5, we do want to be better. We've won the special teams battle in a lot of areas, but the glaring thing is just defensively, we've been way better. We're keeping the puck out of our net, and really minus a bad 10 minutes at Miami. Defensively, we've been very good. I
know that 10 minutes was frustrating. Those things happen on the road from time to time, right? Yeah. It's going to happen over the course of a season. The following weekend, did you guys take Stonehill maybe a little too lightly?
I didn't. I think you can say the guys did. Yeah. On Friday for sure. It's tough. It was a good kind of sandwich weekend for them because we had Denver. We came back from road trip. We have Denver the following weekend, and human nature with kids is they're looking forward ahead to number 2 in the country and the new programs coming in. We've been in that situation. But now the thing with college hockey is everybody's good and you can be good right away. When you can field a roster as a new program of 20 kids that have played Division I hockey because of the portal and because of immediate transfer eligibility now, you're going to be good. And another great example of that is Augustana. Augustana is a first-year program and went into Denver 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, and they beat them in a shootout. Wow. So there are no cupcakes. It's that simple. You're going to look at records. You're going to look at PairWise rankings. Anybody can literally beat anybody on any given night in college hockey. That's how it works.
I am assuming there's no chance you're overlooking this week.
No, that would be impossible. These guys are as good as it gets.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Denver and what makes them so effective. I'm sure you've done some breakdown by this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so deep everywhere. Their D-core is maybe the best in college hockey. Just guys that can dance around and create all kinds of chaos. They love to use high ice in the offensive zone with a lot of motion, and they can really confuse teams defensively once they get going. And their forward group's incredible too. They're well coached. They're disciplined. They're great on special teams. There's not one area that they lack at all. BC is really, really good this year. Denver went in there and beat them on the road. Yeah. This team is, in my opinion, we've played a lot of the Denver teams, and they're always good. This is one of the best ones we've played.
Wow. How do you prepare differently, or do you prepare differently for, like, let's just say a number 2 ranked opponent versus maybe someone who's unranked?
Well, I think the frustrating thing about our team the last year and a half is we've played the level of our competition. It's frustrating when you play a lower ranked team and don't play to your potential and your ability. But we've also had a team the last year and a half that have played, up, beating teams like Minnesota and North Dakota and Boston College. And so that's what we're hoping out of this weekend. We know we have a group that can play with anybody. They have that inner belief and confidence. And I genuinely expect our guys to play very well this weekend. And whatever the result is, it is. But if we go out and play our very best, I like our chances.
Denver, of course, includes Coyotes prospect Miko Matika, who I got a chance to speak to earlier this week. I'll have a story on him on Friday. But when you look at that series, what could simply a split against Denver mean for you guys in terms of the overall picture?
It would be huge. I mean, Denver's going to be there at the end of the year. They're probably going to be a Frozen Four team again. They're definitely a favorite to be a Frozen Four team. So if you can get a win against a team that is very likely going to be top 5 in the PairWise no matter what, it's just the kind of the gift that keeps on giving, right? From a PairWise standpoint, especially for an independent. The second year that we would have qualified for the tournament, we did host Denver. We beat them and we tied them. And those two that win in that tie went very, very far for us. So we've done it before. We're focused on Friday, and our guys are ready to go. I'm excited to see them against such good competition.
You also had a really tough loss to them. That was, I'll say it.
Last year?
Yeah. It was probably more a factor of officiating than anything else. What PD always does is pregame keys. What are your keys to getting a win against Denver?
I think it's just to not get too caught up in the moment, right? Just to play hard and compete and win. Keep it simple. Like Denver does so many good things that I really do believe we just have to focus on us and be the best versions of ourselves. And that's winning your battles, winning your races, doing all the little things, and just having that inner belief that we can go beat this team because we know we can beat anybody. We know how we have to play. And again, establishing an identity is so important. As a college team, that's what the best teams do every year. They don't play to the level of their competition. They play to their identity, and that's what we're going to have to do this weekend. We're going to have to be really, really hard to play against.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but a great series to watch. So if you're, looking to catch some hockey this weekend, head down to Mullett. If you've never been to a Sun Devil hockey game, they're a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. Tons more to talk about. Want to talk about joining a conference, PairWise rankings, and how the heck they even work and more. But before
Professor Powers.
Yeah, Professor Powers. Before we move on to all of that, the reason PD's not here today is because he's getting all the flooring replaced in his house. It's a huge ordeal.
That's what he told us anyway.
Yeah, yes, that's what he told us. Yeah, yeah, seriously. But he has the hookup from our friends over at Empire. They have the best flooring, the best service. They really care about their product. They care about their customer service. And I know PD's mentioned that he's had some really good interactions with them. You can also shop at home, which is nice. Sometimes you get overwhelmed when you walk in those stores and there's too much stuff. And there's the little thing you can do where you can see what the floor looks like in your own home. Right. So just they make it easier to shop, and they have a great promotion going on right now for everybody listening. You can schedule a free in-home estimate today, and all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. You can see empiretoday.com/PHNX for details. And we all know that PD gets a little stressed, especially when his home is in disarray. Yesterday he came in saying, I couldn't even use my kitchen. He was all stressed, and maybe some OGs can help him relax at the end of the day, whether it's the sleep edition, a little indica, sativa, the microdose, whatever it is. The OGs has something for everyone in delicious flavors as well. And we have a really great offer for you right now with OGs. You can head to zenleafdispensaries.com, find your closest location, order your favorite OGs gummies for pickup, and enter discount code PHNX to get 25% off at checkout. This deal is exclusive to our PHNX listeners. And reminder, it's available only for online pickup orders. Discount code is PHNX is active until November 30th. So check it out.
All right, I'm going to ask this question because I'm tired of answering it. So we're going to create this clip. You're going to answer it, and I'm just going to
write down the time.
I'm going to give them the link every time that they ask me this question. How can ASU be playing 26 home games and only 12 games on the road? Can you explain to people how you earned this?
Yeah. I would say over the course of 7 years, no collegiate hockey team has traveled more than us. So generally when you schedule a series with someone, you always schedule a home and home. Right. So you have a lot of trips that people owe you back. And we do. This year they all hit. We knew we were going to go into a conference sooner than later. So we wanted to load up on a lot of those contractual obligations that schools owed us. And they all fell on this year. A lot of schools wanted to wait until we were in Mullett, especially once construction began.
Sure.
So if you look back and you look at history, there were years where we had 10 home games, 12 home games. So
or none one season.
Or none. Yeah, or none one season. Exactly. So yes, to put it very bluntly, you said it best. We earned this. And we're enjoying it. We're in an 8-game homestand. We've never had that before. And it's been nice.
Can you talk a little bit about Mullett? We talk about Mullett all the time for Coyotes, Mullett Magic, we call it. Obviously, year one, it was a whole new experience for some of the guys who'd experienced Oceanside, for yourself even. Yeah. How has Mullett been year two? Do you feel like it still kind of has that home ice advantage? What's it been like?
It feels way more like home this year than it did last year. Last year, it did not. For us, it didn't feel like home. We were so accustomed to Oceanside and all the nuances, and we knew what gremlins were hidden in every corner. But last year, Mullett, we didn't have training camp there. We went on a 10-day road trip, came back, and practiced 3 times, played in the game, 4 days later. So it felt weird. It didn't feel like home really at any point, because there's construction workers everywhere finishing stuff, and there's punch lists. And so there's just kind of chaos that it was hard to settle in. And this offseason was our first full offseason there. We really settled in. We really adjusted. We made it our home. And it feels like a home ice advantage now. And we're 6-0. Last year we were good at home, but we weren't up to our standard at home that we set at Oceanside. So the one thing that we did realize really quickly last year is that teams now come here and they're excited to play. They walk into Mullett and they skate on the ice. They're like, wow, like, this is nice. The NHL plays here. Mm-hmm. So we get a different level of kind of ampness, where they used to show up to Oceanside and they're like, what is this place?
Yeah.
They were
nice
confused. Like, do we really have to play here?
Yeah.
So we're going to get teams best when they come, and Denver's going to be flying on Friday.
All right. We mentioned this earlier. I'm going to ask you to be Professor Powers for a moment
Sure.
here and explain the PairWise rankings. I think you're currently 18. Is that right?
Yeah. Right now, I mean, really, until you're probably 12 to 14 games in, it's not even worth looking at.
Okay.
There's not enough data really to make it worthwhile to give it any credence. So, in 3 or 4 weeks, we'll start to really eyeball that thing. It doesn't mean the games don't matter, because they do, but the data just isn't really caught up to where it's relevant. But PairWise rankings for us as an independent are everything. For people that don't know, the coaches' polls, the media polls, they mean absolutely nothing in college hockey. It's all for show. It's all opinion. But PairWise is what sets the NCAA tournament. So for us as an independent, because we don't have a chance at an auto bid in winning a conference tournament, you have to be generally in the top 12 in the PairWise to be really safe going into the postseason. You can get in as a 15 seed, but that means everybody needs to win their conference tournament that's 15 or higher. Yeah. So if there are any upsets, the 15 gets bumped. Usually the Atlantic hockey team always takes a 16 seed, so the 16 is going to get bumped. But any upsets after that, 15 gets bumped, 14 gets bumped, 13. So for us to be safe, the goal is top 12. And every win matters.
How are they calculated?
Well, you get a bonus point for road wins. So the Miami snafu definitely hurt as far as that goes. And it's all strength of schedule. So you play teams like Denver and you get wins against them. Again, Every time Denver plays and they play at North Dakota and they might win 2 against a really good team at North Dakota, or they've already beaten Boston College, the computer rewards you for those quality wins. So that's the best way to kind of put it. So you want to beat, quality teams, and on the flip, we're down 4-1 to a new program like Stonehill, and we came back and won. That could have been catastrophic. Could have been because they're going to be a 55 to 63 team all year, and that would have killed us. Could you have rebounded from it? Sure, but it would have really sucked at the end of the year if we're 17th as opposed to 12.
Right.
Because that's what that win could have done.
Okay, let's talk about some of those nuances. How's the OT loss at Miami calculated? How is a shootout win calculated that you got?
Shootouts are calculated, unfortunately, as a tie. So it's 50-50.
Okay.
Overtime, if you get to overtime, you get 35%, and lose, you get 35% credit for a win. If you win, you get 65% credit for a win. So it's a 65-35 split. But if you just get to overtime, you're getting credit. Just get to overtime on the road. Yeah. Generally, it's not going to hurt you no matter what. In some instances, it's probably going to help you a little bit. Okay. Especially if you get the tie. So because if you're getting 50% credit of a win and you're playing the number 1 ranked team in the country, it's going to help you.
Does an OT win against Stonehill hurt you in any way?
It doesn't help us, but it doesn't hurt us.
Okay.
Again, a regulation loss against a team ranked that low would have really, really hurt us. So the guys being able to come back from 4-1 down late to come back and win that game, we felt like we stole back the Miami game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like this system overall?
I think it's great. I think it's unbiased and it's fair. And generally, the PairWise always gets it right. I don't think you really see, much controversy in college hockey. It's strictly subjective,
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier only 12 of your games are on the road, but 2 of those are in the inaugural Adirondack Winter Invitational,
Yeah.
which
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
it is. But it
Yeah.
looks like it's a
I
real.
have such a lovely image though, like
Right?
an
It's
Adirondack
beautiful.
chair, some
And then when you know
snow.
where it is and who's playing in it, this looks like a really cool tournament.
Where is
It's in Lake Placid
Mm.
at the Herb Brooks Arena. I can't
Oh.
remember the
Yeah.
specific title of it, but Miracle on Ice.
Yeah.
It's Cornell, Clarkson, and is it
And UMass. Yep.
who Michael Robel plays there.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
how did he pronounce his name the other day? I can't even say
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, it's
Is it Rabel?
Nope.
No, he
not
has
how he
like
pronounced
his
it.
yeah, he has like his Czech pronunciation of it. It's-
Rabel?
yeah, something like
so
that.
You're
It's
much
actually pretty
closer than
good.
us. So I just want to ask you, first of all, how it came about. And that's more than just the tournament. I know you're going there to win, and those are
Yeah.
really good teams.
Yeah.
But it's a cool experience. Are you going to take advantage of that as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lake Placid during that time of year, with the 80 Olympics being, there's a lot of really cool history to that building and the area. So we're staying in a really cool kind of like Adirondack resort type place.
Oh, wow.
So
Awesome.
it's going to be really cool. So we're excited to do that. It's like Clarkson and Cornell were the 2 teams that came up with the idea to put it on, and we were lucky enough to be invited to it. It's been in the works now for I think 2 years, so it's gonna be a great way to kind of kick off the second half.
You have no memories, right? What were you, like 3 years old when that happened?
I was 4. Yeah,
Okay.
I was I was quite not 4 yet. So yeah,
Okay.
good call there. But no, I don't remember it.
I'm the only one who remembers it. But
I was negative.
what I think about is those were college players.
Yeah,
And that, I mean, I think
pretty
84
incredible.
was the last time it happened. Like
Yeah.
right after
Yeah.
that, when my buddy Eddie Olczyk played
Yep.
on the 84 team, and then suddenly the NHL was in and it was over.
Yeah.
So I think about that sort of time when a college team managed to beat the Red Army. It's an unreal story.
It
when you
really
go
is.
back.
Crazy. Do you have any things planned there? Obviously, besides the games, but any like trips or sightseeing? there?
We will, but it's too far
Too
ahead to
early?
even
Yeah.
look at. But we're definitely going to enjoy being there and get the guys to experience everything that it has to offer.
Did you see the movie Miracle?
Of course.
Okay, so at some point when you're on the ice for practice, you're going to have to do the
Mhm.
Herb Brooks thing.
Yeah.
Again.
To give them a go to Herbert. Yeah,
Again.
exactly. It wasn't at that arena though, at least not in Miracle. I think that
No.
was in like Norway or something.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
but
No,
that's
my
okay.
God.
We can go ahead.
It's
We can
iconic.
pretend.
It's iconic. All right, we're gonna switch gears, and you've kind of touched on this, not just today, but before. The transfer portal and NIL, 2 things that are completely new to the landscape
Yeah.
of college sports. Can you talk a little bit about how it's altered the college game? You can take it one at a time, starting with the transfer portal and then NIL.
Well, it's the transfer portal has, in my opinion, you can argue it's done great things for college sports, and you can argue that it's done really bad things. I think on the positive side, in hockey anyway, new programs can be competitive right away.
Mm.
So we didn't have the portal when we started. We didn't have it. It was organic. We started with 17 kids from our club team, a couple of transfers that got immediate eligibility, and all freshmen. So it can make teams competitive right away. I think that's a good thing. It holds coaches accountable to holding up to our end of the bargain when we recruit a kid and we, tell them that their experience is going to be this. We have to deliver on that, because now it's easier than ever for them to leave if they're not having that experience. Because in the past, you had to leave and sit out a full season if you transferred, which really deterred kids from transferring because they didn't want to sit out and not play. So I think those are the good things about it. The bad things about it is, I think it's glaring that first sign of adversity, kids just up and leave. They quit. They don't know how to fight through it. They don't want to get through tough times and earn things. And I'm a little old school as far as that goes, but I think that it's completely thrown loyalty out the window in a lot of different ways. So if I could have it the old way, I probably would. Now, with that said, we've loved the portal, but we've gotten great players and kids out of it that have made us better right away. We're still a newer program, so it's helped us. It really has. You look at the kids we brought in this year, Grattan and Chambers and Tabakin, and in the past, Robert Mastrosimone, Colin Tyson, kids that scored over 40 points for us in a season. So it's helped us, But I think for the landscape of college athletics as a whole, if they burned it, I wouldn't be unhappy.
Is there a way to modify it to make it a little less? I mean,
I think
state your case. For
I think
instance.
we were really worried. I was really worried because at one point they were going to make it transferring as many times as you want. Okay. Wow. So a kid could go here, there, and everywhere as many times as they want. And now there is a one-time transfer exception. You can transfer one time as an undergraduate. That's it. So, and if you transfer again, you have to sit out. So, the fifth year has really convoluted rosters in every sport. This year's senior class is the last class that is granted a fifth year of eligibility. So that affects timelines of kids playing junior hockey and high school students because there's just not enough stalls. Of course, as a coach, you're going to take a kid that can make an instant impact as a fifth year, player in a newer program, as opposed to a kid coming in as a freshman. He's going to help you win. And that's our job, right? So it's really just crowded the player pool. So I think once the fifth year goes away after this year, it's going to start to correct itself, and it's going to be interesting to see how the portal is utilized moving forward without the fifth year.
What happens to you mentioned the backlog of kids that are trying to get into? Where are they in the USHL? Are they?
They either play an extra year junior, and if they age out, some of them just have to go play Division III.
Wow.
It happens everywhere. We have kids this is NLI week, and there's kids that, we envision coming in, that just might have to play another year. You don't know as a coach 8 games into the season what your roster is going to look like next year. We have, 7 kids in their 4th year of eligibility that might want to play a 5th year. We don't have to bring them back, but we might want to.
Yeah.
So there's kids that are going to go into the portal that are seniors this year that want to play a 5th year. Like last year at this time, we didn't know Tyler Gratton and Brian Chambers and Brandon Tabakin were going to be searching for a 5th year, So you don't know what you don't know, and it's a crazy landscape because of it. We have one more year of it. I think that a lot of coaches are excited that it's going to be over.
Can you touch a little bit on NIL as well? Because that's something that's also evolved over the last few years and was never there before.
I mean, I'm all for, student athletes, capitalizing on opportunity. I don't think it's a terrible thing as long as it doesn't screw up locker rooms. It hasn't, luckily, enough really entered college hockey for the most part. I know there are programs out there doing it, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a touchy subject. I think that, the higher up you get in Power 5 football and basketball, it's beginning to get messy and potentially ruin some things. So do I think there needs to be more regulation? Absolutely.
Can it create an imbalance?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have an alumni base at a school like Alabama, it's just schools out here can't compete with that. So I mean, what they're throwing at kids to go to those type of institutions and go play collegiate sports, it's absolutely a huge imbalance.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
It's not just about X's and O's and culture and liking a coach anymore. It's what are you going to give me?
Very interesting stuff. Well, again, still more to get into. I mentioned earlier that if you want to check out this game this weekend, you absolutely should. And I just double checked just to, stand by what I said. There's tickets right now available on Game Time for this Friday and this Saturday for Denver at ASU. So check that out. It's going to be a great time this weekend. Friday night, there's no conflict. You're not missing a Coyotes game either. So swing by Friday, swing by Saturday, whatever it is, and grab your tickets over at Game Time. And if you haven't downloaded the Game Time app yet, you can do so. Create an account and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. So what better time to check out Game Time than for this weekend, ASU and Denver. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And speaking of fun things to do this weekend, we have a great event this Sunday at Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass. Cardinals home game watch party, Kyler's return. There's a lot of stuff to do there. We're going to have giveaways of Kyler signed gear, helmets, balls, jerseys.
Everybody loves Kyler Murray again now after watching quarterback play the Cardinals the past few weeks.
I mean, nobody wants another Clayton Tune week. Sorry. But we're really excited about our new partner, Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And as we always like to say, I don't know about you, but I feel good. And you do you.
He likes to say it all the time.
You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit play@gila.com for more details.
Yeah, that's a cool spot, actually. I think we'll all be there.
Yeah, on Sunday. So come hang out with us. It's going to be fun. All right.
All right. I know you've been waiting for this, the last big piece. You and I have talked about this, but next season you move into a conference.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, right? You got your arena built. Yeah. You got a conference. There have been a number of steps. This feels like the last foundational piece. You've already played one conference opponent. You're about to play another. I know you get CC as well this year, right?
Yeah, so, we have 3 of them.
Greg, can this season, I've asked you this question in other contexts before, can this season be a springboard for you guys?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And we're hoping to make it one. So far it has been. It's hard to go 6-1-1 in college hockey. It's so hard to win. It's hard to win in this sport because everybody's good. And again, a great example is a first-year program like Augustana going into Denver and winning in a shootout. Really, it counts as a tie, but that felt like a win for that program. So, you look at college basketball, look at college football. If Augustana started a Division I college football program and went and played Alabama, they would lose by 100. They would lose by 100.
Yeah.
In hockey, it's not that way. There's too many good players and not enough stalls. So we're so thrilled to get this last independent season, completed and enjoy it and embrace it and wear it as a badge of honor for all the guys that came and helped us build this and use it as a launching board into conference play. It's going to be hard. It is a brutal conference. There's no nights off.
Yeah.
And there's really no nights off in college hockey, but it's different when you're going from Stonehill to Denver to Alaska Anchorage, and then next year it's Duluth to Denver to North Dakota.
Yeah,
right there. I mean, it is. We're building for it, and we're recruiting like crazy for it, and we're evaluating what we need to do to be able to compete week in and week out, and that's the goal, to go right in and be able to compete.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Big Ten might argue this, but when you look at national championships, it's kind of hard to argue that this is the best conference in the country.
It's from a historic standpoint, it is. 5 out of the last 7 national championships. The Big Ten is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's getting better every year. With the resources those schools have and the recruiting that they're doing, it's remarkable. So they're very, very good. Hockey East is very, very good this year.
Mm-hmm.
But the NCHC speaks for itself. The success speaks for itself. And every program in it is very, very good.
Just to reiterate, why is it important to be a member of a conference, both from a competitive standpoint and then recruiting?
Well, I think competitively, you always have something to play for. Your standings and developing rivalries, consistency as far as that goes, and then having a playoff, an actual playoff, no matter what, every year to play in. A great example last year, Colorado College had a tough season. They won 10 games, and then they caught fire at the end of the year, went to Western Michigan, beat them, went to the Frozen Face-Off, which is the Frozen Four for the NCHC, and won the semis, and then were a goal away from winning the championship. And so they went on a run where they're a goal away from making the NCAA tournament. That's a great example of what can be done if you catch fire at the right time. And then recruiting, kids want to play for championships. It's that simple. So when a push comes to shove, and all things are equal, and a kid loves 2 programs. They love both staffs. They love both campuses. They love both, academic profiles. You're going to lose the tie more times than not because that kid wants to play for a championship, and it means something. So to be able to do that has already been felt from a recruiting standpoint, and it will continue to be.
As you mentioned, there's a limited number of roster spots because there just aren't that many Division I college hockey teams. Yet I still wanted to ask, does being a member of this conference, does it maybe open up recruiting areas or regions that you weren't maybe able to get a foothold in before?
Not necessarily. I think that we've recruited very well out of every region, but I think that now we have an even better case for kids in Western Canada and in the western part of the United States because we will have more games in this region with Denver and CC, even Omaha, North Dakota. So I think it can strengthen things, but I don't think it will open up anything that we haven't already opened.
Can you kind of explain maybe some behind the scenes of how this all unfolded as well?
Well, I mean, back when we started in our very first season, we applied for membership to the NCHC and went through a rigorous application process where every president or chancellor and AD flew in, and we did big meetings with them. And this is our first year before we ever played a game. Didn't have arena plans in place. I don't even think we had a full staff yet. It was just flat out too premature. And the NCHC in their defense was 1 year old. So they were still getting their house in order. The WCHA disbanded when the Big Ten hockey formed in Wisconsin and Minnesota and Michigan State, well, not Michigan State, but Wisconsin and Minnesota left. So they formed the NCHC. They were getting their house in order. We were getting our house in order. The best thing that happened to Arizona State was not getting in at that time because we weren't ready. We didn't have an arena. We were figuring everything out as we kind of went flying by the seat of our pants. Yeah. Now we're ready. Now the NCHC was ready for expansion. So, we kept those conversations open, developed relationships with their members, and played a lot of their members. My daughter was in USA Hockey National Camp, which last year was at St. Cloud. And Heather Weems, who is the commissioner, lives in St. Cloud. I went to lunch with her and started up the conversation again. And then one thing led to another over the course of the next year and a half. And here we are.
How does being in this conference impact the way you schedule non-conference games?
Well, in 3 or 4 years, I'll be able to be strategic about it.
Yeah, you still have
for 3 years, I won't be able to because we had 24 league games plopped on our schedule next year that we didn't plan for. So that's 24 games that I have to push out into future years. So we have to honor those, and we will. But putting those puzzle pieces together for the 10 non-conference games we're going to play every year is going to be in the first few years. And after that, you figure out how to strategically best set yourself up.
Yeah. And
different teams have different models, but we'll figure it out.
When you look back at, year one, Oceanside, the 17 ACHA players not having an arena, not being part of a conference, then you come to today where you have all that. But even still, it's growing and evolving. You look back from there to now, from now to the next thing, what are you looking at? Obviously, I know winning a championship is the number one goal, but maybe on a smaller scale, what do you hope to accomplish?
It's just trying not to get too far out ahead of ourselves, to be honest. We've worked so hard to get to where we are, and people maybe think they know, but they don't know. They don't know. It's not been easy. It's been hard doing it out of Oceanside, and as an independent, there's been a lot of obstacles, and now we're finally at a place as a program where we can really just go, and there's no obstacles. We can hit the ground running in every way. We've got a great staff who really sees what a blank canvas this is still, and is embracing it, and generally, the hockey community all over North America is starting to see it. The kids we're getting and the conversations that we're having with the elite players and people in hockey are really, really cool. So to peel it back, 7-8 years ago when this all started, if you would have told me, we had Mullett Arena, we're going into the NCHC, we made a few NCAA tournaments prior to all of it, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. I think we have a lot to be proud of.
I know to a certain extent being a college coach is always being a CEO, but do you have less things to worry about? Can you focus more on just the ice, or are there still
for
all
sure
those?
There's still a lot going on, but now more than ever, I think I'm able to focus on the most enjoyable part of my job, which is ice hockey, because I have such a great staff and we have so many boxes checked from conference to arena and facility and resources that we just haven't been accustomed to, that we've worked very hard for behind the scenes to accomplish. So I'm enjoying it. We're off to our best start in program history, 6-1-1, which is hard to do in college hockey. But you're never satisfied, and we're chapped. We're not 8-0 right now. So, but we're excited for the opportunity to play Denver this weekend.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing one of those games. Before we cut it off here. I'll let you go because I know you're busy. We're having our Friendsgiving in the office today, so I got to ask about the traditional Thanksgiving.
Oh my God, he brings this up every show.
This is a source of strife. Are you on board with the traditional Thanksgiving, or do you like to mix it up a little bit?
I love traditional Thanksgiving. Okay. I love stuffing and turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy. What would be mixing it up? Let me ask you that.
Just maybe a different type of meal once in a while.
Like,
I'm not so much anti. Here's what drives me crazy. Thanksgiving. Oh, let's have this meal of all the things you just mentioned. Yeah. Then you get to Christmas. Oh, let's do it again. Let's roll it back and do it again.
Is very
That's
similar.
what bugs me.
Yeah, you're right. The two meals are similar. You could always go Christmas ham.
That's true.
A lot of people do that. Okay. I'm not a ham guy.
You're not a ham guy.
But I love the traditional Thanksgiving. I'm always that guy that night I'm like, oh my God, why did I eat so much?
I mean, it's so worth it every time. Yeah. Follow-up question. You get invited into a Friendsgiving. What are you bringing?
Oof, that's a tough one.
And given you have more than like an hour to prepare, so,
I'm probably going to go to like a really good pie place and bring some like really good pies.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Yeah. What's that like Rock Springs or whatever?
Rock Springs up off I-17.
Those pies are elite.
Oh my God.
There's a really good place off in Scottsdale called I think Piefection or something like that. It's really good. So there's some good pie places you can go and
all right.
get a quick something that somebody's gonna like.
Okay. Yeah. We might need a pie sponsor. Yeah. I love pie.
Piefection sounds like a really good spot. Max?
It sounds good.
Max, you here?
And for anyone on our staff who's watching this saying, oh, we have a Friendsgiving in 20 minutes and you didn't bring anything, just swing by Circle K and pick up some snacks. Our Circle K snack cart's looking a little bare right now. Grab some chips.
Also a question for Max.
Max is staring me down
He's
from
now
across the
office. I see his silhouette.
Oh my God, I see his silhouette as well. Swing by Circle K, stop inside, grab yourself some snacks, grab a Polar Pop, and of course fill up on gas. And if you're a member of the Inner Circle, you can save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. So join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And last but not least, I think, one of the big things on the recruiting trail for ASU, it's sunny here. This is no North Dakota. This is no Minnesota. It's sunny here like 350 days out of the year. So you got to make sure you get your shady rays and protect your eyes from the harsh desert sun. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. You can go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Craig has the story on Miko Matika later this week, the prospect report, all of that for the prospect reports for diehards only. So make sure you're a diehard if you want to read that and get access to our Discord as well. Ian in our Discord commented when we started the show, always enjoy hearing Powers talk hockey. So thanks, Ian. And thank you, Greg Powers, for stopping by. And I think we're all really looking forward to this weekend's matchup to see what the Sun Devils can do against number 2 Denver.
An elite program. Yeah.
Should be fun.
Going to be great. Well, thanks again. We appreciate you stopping by.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
Make sure you get out to those games or stay tuned. We'll check in on the games on Saturday. I think Craig's planning he's going to do a double header.
I'm going to pay attention to the Coyotes game, but I'll be at the ASU game.
So we'll get a full update from that as well. So really looking forward to that. And if you're watching us here on YouTube, be sure to hit the thumbs up on this video before heading out. And if you're listening on audio, hit the little 5-star review. It means a lot to us. You can follow our show at PHNX_Coyotes. And enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, everyone. We'll be back for a post-game show tomorrow night after the Coyotes take on the Blues. But until then, see everyone tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.